was basically the main plot and like personality of Atlas, is that she hated anything AI intelligent. She was like, no, let's do it on paper. Like, oh, this I go to. I am a god.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Becca,
And I'm Cass.
and welcome to Act 4. Jennifer Lopez, Simu Liu, Sterling K. Brown, actors that promise an amazing movie, right? But is it always the case? Well, in today's episode, Cass and I are going to talk about Atlas, a new 2024 science fiction movie that guarantees entertainment and action. With the diverse opinions on the movie and the discourse surrounding it, we are hoping to add a unique perspective to the conversation. This initial section focuses on our opinions. We'll begin by summarizing the movie and then provide our thoughts on it. Atlas Shepard, a brilliant but misanthropic data analyst, harbors a deep distrust for artificial intelligence. So, on a mission to capture a rogue robot, she discovers that she has encountered this enigmatic machine before. So, when the mission goes awry, Atlas is faced with two choices: to trust the AI who's trying to protect her, or to risk the future of humanity. The movie was directed by Brad Payton and written by Leo Sardarian and Aaron Ailey Colette. It stars Jennifer Lopez, Simu Liu, Sterling K. Brown, etc. Like I said. So, Kes, what are your initial thoughts on the movie?
Um, Atlas is basically what you would expect a Netflix original movie to be. It's not good, but it's fine, you know? Like, you can watch it, but don't expect to be like wowed or like like the movie ends and you're like
Yeah.
in deep thought about what you just saw, or either like dying of laughter, or like they're
Mm-hmm.
looking over your shoulder because it was very scary. No, none of that. Don't expect anything.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if you don't expect anything, it might
Yeah.
actually just be good for you. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Yep.
think it's like a one I think it's like a one watch one done movie. It's like the type of movie where you
Yep.
watch it and then you just forget about it. You just remember vaguely
Yep.
watching it, but you don't really like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really do anything for you. I agree. In the sense like people are were being harsh on TikTok, and I know it's because a lot of people, I don't know for what reason, really dislike Jennifer Lopez. So they're like
Yeah.
they were trolling the movie and like trolling like the whole idea and the whole concept. So for me, when I was going to watch the movie, I already had like a bit of a negative point of view because of everything people were
Mm.
saying. But when I went to watch it, of course I was doing other things because Becca is always multitasking. Anyways, so I was doing other things, and for me it was fine. It was just a good distraction while doing other things. And I mean, I've been saying that for a lot of movies, but for me, if you're a good distraction, that means you're a good movie. If like I'm doing something else and I'm bored watching you, that means like you really, really are not good.
Yep, I agree. I think it's definitely not as bad as people made it out like to be. For me personally,
Mm-hmm.
Atlas is definitely on the exact same level of Madame Web. For me, like they're both equally as like the most decent movie you could ever get. But honestly, I kind of enjoyed it.
Well, other than that, I think the acting was like good sometimes, but also it could be a bit cringy, I'd say. It really depends. It was like a hit or miss, depending on what they were saying. Sometimes things were like really amazing, good, well said, and other times it was like it needed a bit of work.
Honestly, I agree. Like, I think one of the things that I did find a little cringy was like Simu Liu being the robot. He did not look at all like a robot. And I'm sorry, but the way he was, oh, like I wanted him to just
Yeah.
go away.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but as a viewer and a wannabe actor, I get him.
Excuse me. Excuse me. No, 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 no. He's not a wannabe. He's been an actor.
No, but like me as a viewer, me as Becca the viewer and the Becca the wannabe actor, I get him. In the sense that it's not his fault. He was giving a script and he was just doing the script. I mean,
Yes,
I
it is
would
his
put the
fault.
fault. Okay, what do you mean it was his fault?
Because a bad script doesn't like, for instance, the Joker. Like, we watched the movie, like, the script wasn't
Mm-hmm.
the greatest, but the performance that the actor gave is what makes the movie
Yeah,
good.
but they're two different movies.
I know, but it's just an
There's two
example.
di- and I'd say most people wouldn't necessarily agree with the fact that Simu wasn't good. I think it's just the fact that he was supposed to be like a humanoid type of robot that like acted a bit human. So in my way, it's just the way that it was given to him. If you tell me, Becca, you have to act like as a robot, but a robot that looks human and that has quote unquote a bit of human emotions, how the hell am I supposed to do that without being a bit weird?
Well,
You know?
honestly, no. For me, I feel like it's definitely a part that the actor can do. For instance, I know that, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a movie called Lucy, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like featuring Scarlett Johansson, and she's basically
Mm-hmm.
giving like this emotionless but like human like person that has all these
Mm-hmm.
advances, like de- developments in her brain.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And honestly, that character seems more like a robot that like has certain human aspects more than Simu
Mm-hmm.
Liu's character. Like, and I feel like, honestly, if you haven't seen the movie, it's probably hard to visualize it. But
I've seen Lucy. I've
okay,
seen
yeah.
Lucy.
Then for me, like, it's definitely something that he, as an actor, could have either tried to like understand, because obviously the script wasn't that great, honestly. But another thing, like, for, like I said, like, it's the same level as Madame Web, and I think the reason
Mm-hmm.
for that is because they were trying to make us sympathize with like an under like developed character, like the way they were like explaining about Atlas and things of her were like trying to make us
Mm-hmm.
feel like some kind of like sympathy or empathy for the situation that she was in and for her hatred for
Mm-hmm.
robots, but
Mm-hmm.
didn't do it. They Do
Yeah.
you think like they could have done something better to make it, or is just like Netflix movie? It's already, you
But
already know.
I think the portrayal of like Atlas itself lacked emotions in the sense
Yeah.
like I get it. It was like we get to see like the cold persona and then we get to see like the interior slowly but surely. But in a way, like it was hard for me to sympathize sometimes with Atlas because it was as if like it lacked something to relate to me. Like I like in an exterior, like in an outsider perspective, I would get it and I would be like, oh yeah, that is like shameful. But in movies that really where characters really get to me is when I feel genuine sadness for the character.
Yeah.
And when I was watching it more like as an outsider who was like, oh yeah, well that sucks, and
Yeah,
basically that's it. So I think it was mostly as well about like the way Atlas was in a way.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Other than that, well, there was nothing really that stuck up to me, not gonna lie. I mean, it was just an entertaining movie. Well, a movie that was meant to be entertaining, and I was entertained. Even though I was a bit lost in the beginning because I mean they used a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
CGI and I wasn't ready.
which is not great CGI either.
Yeah, I wasn't
Totally.
ready for all of that. So like in the beginning I was a bit
Oh,
lost. I almost like
yeah.
stopped the movie. I almost said, Becca, you're gonna watch it another time, but
Honestly,
I was like, no,
I have a
keep it.
confession. I watched the movie on 1.5 speed. Like, honestly, like you said, the beginning, not that great. And also, did you like how it looked? Like, visually? Was it appealing to you?
Yeah,
Like,
no, not
ooh.
that, not at all.
Mm-mm.
It was like the tint was a bit
Yeah,
brownish, and
it's,
I think it was because they wanted it to be like futuristic, but
yeah.
it ugh, seemed wrong.
Anyways, yep, that's it.
Okay, perfect. So if you guys have something to add on top of what we said, you can always write them down. We'll be delighted to read them. And with that being said, let's move on to the second segment. So, in this segment, we'll explore the perspectives of reviewers on the movie. We'll examine feedbacks from platforms like Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, Letterboxd, and more. As of the day we're filming, which is the 16th of June of 2024, the movie is rated at 20% on Tomato Meter and 48% audience score. So, Cass, what is your first review?
So the first review that I have says Atlas or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love AI. And I feel, yeah,
Yeah.
that was basically the main plot and like personality of Atlas is that she hated
Mm-hmm.
anything AI intelligent. She was like, no, let's do it on paper. Like
And it was literally her fault. What happened?
it
She hated AI, but she literally was the catalyst for everything that happened.
honestly, yeah, cuz it's never that deep, my friend. Like I understand that you may be scared of it, but it's like learn a few things or two and you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yep.
So my first review says, worth the watch for the concept, not too far from reality, but I think the script, dialogue, and acting needed a few more takes. And I agree.
Yeah.
I think that like summarizes my opinions in the sense that I think like the concept is like interesting and everything, but it lacked a lot of like major points. The movie lacked a lot of major points. And I've seen people say that the movie looked like it was literally AI generated,
Yes.
like
Oh,
seemed like it was literally AI generated. And I get where they come from.
honestly,
Not
yeah.
gonna lie, I get where they come from.
I get it. So the second review that I have says, if I was paid every time Netflix made a bad movie, I'd be rich by
Mm-hmm.
now. And honestly, same. I've seen so many Netflix movies, yet you would never catch me saying, "Oh yeah, this one that was definitely in my top
Mm-hmm.
5." Netflix really
Mm-hmm.
has their own reputation, and honestly, props to them because they keep making money. So
The
who's really
reputation
winning?
precedes them.
Exactly.
Exactly. They're on top of their game.
Exactly.
So for me, the second review says surprisingly okay actually. It looks and feels very video gamey in a sometimes bad but mostly good way. They should have just left out 90% of the terrible dialogue. I have the strong belief it would work just fine. The props and UI design are amazing and get the important bits across non-verbally anyway. One another on another note, EA what the fuck fun. Oh well, let's forget about that part.
Honestly,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like people really hate on some things for no reason, or like everybody
Mm-hmm.
jumps on the fact that one person said something, so no one actually tries to like either watch the movie, listen to the song or whatever, and then they all jump to the
Mm-hmm.
same conclusion without having any thoughts for themselves. And I think that is the
Yeah,
saddest thing
exactly.
ever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I
I
ask you
completely
why
agree.
you don't like the movie and you say something like, "Oh, because that's what I seen on TikTok." The movie is not on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. Why why
Mm-hmm.
why is that your explanation?
Yeah, but literally my third review is like based on that, but I'll
I
wait
don't have
until you
one, so
say
you
yours.
can go.
Well, they said if I were to base my viewing decision on Rotted, I would have not watched it, but I did watch it. And they say a
Honestly,
few
yeah.
plot holes were found and some of the battle scenes noticeably CGI, but overall really good cast and decent story enough to keep you entertained.
Exactly. Although I did watch it in 1.5, it was fine. Like, not revolutionary, didn't teach me anything about AI except, that you can love it. And
Yeah,
it was fine. Like, I don't regret the time
no,
that I watched it. Yeah.
yeah, that was basically it, honestly. There was nothing more, nothing less to say. I think that was like the gist of the movie. And with that being said, guys, if you found a review or you wrote a review that you think is really funny, really interesting, really insightful, you can always comment it down below. We'll be happy
Hello?
to read you guys. Let's move on to the last. Well, so with that being said, let's move on to the third segment.
So for the third segment, we had to pick and choose characters that we think either did a good job at portraying the role and another character that we think we would do a good job at portraying. And that could be for any reason, for anything they said, anything they did. Yeah. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So, I would give, I mean, a props, an award to Elias.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember Elias. He's
Is
the,
it the captain?
like,
Like the
yes,
thingy? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, the captain who, the thingy.
Yeah, because it's not captain. I forgot what his name is, but the
Yeah,
thingy.
yeah, yeah. The captain thing. I forgot his role too. But yeah, basically, I think he was like he was a bit uncertain about Atlas in the beginning, which I understand because she seemed a bit like standoffish. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end, he like redeemed himself, and I mean, he sacrificed himself for like them, and I think he would just write out in a good way. So I would give him the award. And I mean, it's Sterling K. Brown. I love the actor, so of course. And the character I'd play is Smith. I loved
Mm.
Smith.
Yeah,
I would play Smith.
honestly.
Smith was awesome. So I would be Smith. What about you?
So, actually, for the character that I think did a good job, or more like, yeah, the character, let's call it the character, it's actually Smith. For me, Smith
Oh.
was really good. I don't know. I feel like he was very lovable in a sense, or like friendly or whatever. And I think it was a good.
Mm-hmm.
She basically had the best like AI robot voice, whatever, to like make her
Mm-hmm.
realize that maybe I had a lot of like prejudice about
Mm-hmm.
this technology that is AI that I was a little,
Yeah.
unnecessary. And I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
think yeah, Smith for me was amazing. And the
Yeah, I
character that
agree.
I think that I would do a good job at portraying, or actually it's just that I want to like understand how that would work, is basically Simu Liu's character. Yeah, and I'm not saying obviously that I would do a better job. It's just I feel like I want to know like if it were to be real, in another universe, what it would feel
Yeah.
like to be a robot that actually has thoughts and emotions or like wants and needs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think
Yeah,
that would be
that turns
nice.
evil.
Rar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I don't know why I
Yeah,
did
I
that.
get you.
Yep.
It's okay. The inner battles sometimes, inner thoughts win. But yeah, I understand what you mean. And with that being said, guys, let's move on to the last segment.
All right. So for this last segment, basically every movie has like that one scene or like that one line or those couple lines that you're like, that right there, that deserves to be in the dictionary somewhere. I don't know how or where or
Mm-hmm.
why, but it needs to be in. And basically that's what we had to do. We had to pick some lines or other scenes in the movie that we think were good or for whatever reason, and those are lines that we would put in our own very personal dictionary. So, unfortunately, the movie did nothing for me. There was nothing that really stood out to me, and I feel like all the lines kind of fell a little flat. But there was one
Yeah.
thing that actually made me, chuckle a little, and it's basically when Atlas said to Smith, "Oh yeah, nobody likes a smartass." When she was like, "Oh, I didn't tell you my name," and then Smith was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, but it's on your name tag." And I thought that was pretty funny and really showed like
Yeah.
some kind of bonding, like the first like bonding that they really had, and I think that was really cool. It's the only moment that I was like, okay, I see what y'all did there. Anyways, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the only one that I have,
Yeah.
sadly.
Yeah, I get you. Well, on my end, I managed to like find two lines that well they were interconnected, so I think it's just like an extension of one line.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically, it's when Smith was talking to Atlas and he said, "We're all programmed. Your DNA dictates your thoughts, emotions, health in the same way that my code determines mine." And it's biology in that sense, and it's because after that he added, "I think everything has a soul." And for me, it's like a bit true because people usually think, "Oh well, it's an animal," or else it's just that it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't necessarily know what goes on. Like we know like so little about life. So in a metaphorical way, I feel like he is right. Like everything has a soul, and your own DNA, especially humans, and like it can be humans, it can be like vegetables, it can be plants, it can be everything. Like your DNA and the way that you are dictates how you are, and I feel like it was in a way like just
Yeah.
important to me to like talk
Honestly,
about that.
Smith ate with that one. Really did.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And I mean that's the only thing I really
Yeah.
like
I mean, yeah,
remember about the movie, but I liked
there
it.
wasn't much, but yeah.
So with that being said, guys, we hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and we hope that you enjoyed Atlas as much as we did, or even more. And we hope that you'll be here next week for a new episode. And with that being said, I think Kessa has a question for you guys.
So, between Madam Web and Atlas, if you could ever watch one of those movies for the rest of your life, which one would it be? See you at the movies. Bye.
Bye. What do you have with Madame Web?